Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast, Special Edition Series 2024 NFL Offseason Preview. We're going to do a team-by-team podcast, and then we will make some predictions on the podcast with a couple of superlatives. We'll go in alphabetical order, and first up will be the Arizona Cardinals. So, how this is going to go. We will talk about notable free agents to be, team needs, franchise tag candidates, trade candidates, release candidates, a draft fit, a free agent signing fit, and then a bold prediction for each team. We're going to start off, as I said, with the Arizona Cardinals because we are going in alphabetical order. All right. Notable free agents to be. Marlon Mack, running back. Marquise Brown, obviously wide receiver. Guard Elijah Wilkinson. Defensive end LJ Collier. Linebacker Josh Woods. Cornerback Antonio Hamilton. Punter Blake Gillikin. And long snapper Aaron Brewer. This team has a lot of needs. Some may argue quarterback, but I'm the one opposed to that because I think Kyler Murray played well enough down the stretch to remain a starter. And they owe him a lot of money. And don't you rather have certainty than uncertainty at that position? Because sometimes we say that some guys are slam dunks to be great, and they turn out not to be great in terms of rookie quarterbacks that sometimes get hyped up for whatever reason. So I have down for team needs, wide receiver, tight end, punter, long snapper, cornerback, linebacker. I don't know if I meant inside or outside linebacker. I would assume outside linebacker. Let me check here. Inside linebacker actually is the need. Oh, they need both. But Josh Woods is a free agent, so both linebacker positions, defensive end, defensive tackle. All right, my franchise tag candidate on this team is Hollywood Brown. They traded a first-round pick to get him, and he's somebody that wasn't worth what they gave up, obviously, but still a useful player in this offense. So I would say Marquise Brown should be the franchise tag candidate on this team. And they gave up a good first-round pick to the Ravens to get Hollywood Brown. I'm going to look up when he got traded. So, April 28, 2022, obviously Brown and Murray had the connection from Oklahoma. So it was the 23rd pick in the draft, which ended up being a pick that they ended up trading back. It was Khair Alam. The Bills trade up for Khair Alam. And then the Cards ended up trading back like a lot. Or no, not the Cardinals, the Ravens. So the Cardinals traded out of the pick to the Ravens. The Cardinals moved down 2 spots and took Tyler Linderbaum, who was a Pro Bowler. So you think it's fair to say the Ravens won that trade. But I still think that Marquise Brown should be the franchise tag candidate on this team because nobody else really sticks out. Trade candidate. I'm going to go with Butter Baker. He's been in trade rumors a lot over the past 18 months or so. I mean, one may argue Kyler Murray, but I think they're going to keep Kyler Murray because he played well down the stretch. Butter Baker has gotten hurt a lot. He is a player at a position that isn't as important as some others on the field. He is 28 years old. He's been in the league for about 7 years now, 8 years. So I think that they could get value for Butter Baker in a trade. And then there's some other teams that could use somebody like Butter Baker, like the Cowboys or the Bills, because Micah Hyde's going to be a free agent. So there's some contenders that I think could use Butter Baker. The Bills, like, ironically enough, I just mentioned. I can think of a couple other contenders that could be a trade partner for Arizona for Butter Baker. Philly. The Jaguars, if they really want to make a run at it. The Texans, I think, could be a trade partner. The Colts. So, yeah, there's a couple of teams I listed. Not just contenders, but teams that are looking to improve with young quarterbacks as well. Release candidate, DJ Humphries. He's been with the Cards for a long time. He's making a lot of money. He's been on the Cards for a long time. Since 2015, he was drafted by the Cards. He only made the Pro Bowl one time. And this guy reminds me of another offensive tackle that we're going to talk about on the next team's podcast I'm going to do. That's a little bit of a spoiler alert. But he got a contract extension 2 summers ago. 3 years, $66.6 million. So he signed through at least 2024, and he is 30 years old, making $22 million a year. So I could see a world where he's cut, and if they want to get younger at that position, so I could see Humphries being a cut casualty on this team. And then I could see a team like the New York Giants or the Jets or the Steelers trying to pick him up if he's cut. Draft fit. I really like Malik Neighbors' fit on this team. I mean, the obvious answer would be Marvin Harrison Jr., but I think there's a team that's better suited for him. So I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors. They need a real WR1. I think Hollywood Brown, it's funny with Hollywood Brown, he looked like a WR1 the 1 year with Lamar, but hasn't looked like that since. So, to me, Hollywood Brown is someone that you could keep as a WR2, and you could draft Malik Neighbors, and you have Neighbors, and you franchise tag Hollywood Brown, and you have Kyler, and you have James Conner, and that's a nice foundation offensively. And then some may argue that a good draft fit would be Brock Bowers, but there's an obvious fit sitting there for Brock Bowers. I'm not going to give that away. But you could argue Brock Bowers for draft fit for Arizona too, because they haven't needed tight end and they got rid of Zach Ertz. So I think that would be an interesting fit too. Although Trey McBride did show some promise in the last month of the season. So that's the case against Brock Bowers. But like I said, I think Malik Neighbors would be a really good WR1 on this Cardinals team. And you have him, you have Hollywood Brown if you franchise tag him, and then Rondell Moore. So that is a really, really good receiver core there to have with Kyler And then you could draft an offensive lineman with the pick you get from the Texans if you get rid of DJ Humphries, or maybe you draft an interior offensive lineman and replace Elijah Wilkinson. He's a free agent. So that Texans pick is huge for Arizona because of the Will Anderson deal. And then even though that pick's in the 20s, that pick a lot of people thought was going to be in the top 10 before September, but the Texans ended up being a surprise team. But that's not bad for Arizona that the Texans ended up being a surprise team and the pick was not as good as they thought it was going to be. There's no shame in that for Arizona. That's good for Houston, though. But at least that doesn't look as bad as a disaster because Will Anderson won the Defensive Rookie of the Year, but that's the same for the Texans podcast. But getting a pick in the 20s isn't bad for Arizona because you can find some depth in the 20s in the draft and you can address your need at the offensive line, whether you get rid of Humphries and you draft a tackle, or if you want to go interior line to replace Elijah Wilkinson. So the last time I did a mock draft, I had Arizona with the Texans pick taking Graham Barton, which would be another really good fit for them. So you can place Wilkinson with Barton, or you can go Amarius Mims if he drops. Jordan Morgan of Arizona would be a good fit there as well. Tyler Guyton of Oklahoma. Kingsley Sumatea from BYU wouldn't be bad at that pick as well. So the Cardinals have a lot of good options with those picks for to fill some big needs that they have this offseason. Free agent fit. I'm going to go with Chase Young. Chase Young really didn't live up to the billing with the Niners. He really wasn't heard from in the postseason, and that's not great. And I think Chase Young should go to a team that is looking to be better than they were a year ago and has a decent quarterback or a veteran quarterback. So I really think the fit on Arizona does make sense, and I could see them signing him for maybe a 3-year deal, 3 for 63 or something like that, and then he gets 20-something million a year, and they could bank on his upside. And again, that would be an example of a team paying for future projection, not past performance. So I think Chase Young in Arizona would be a really good fit. Calais Campbell, I don't think Calais Campbell would go to a team like the Cardinals. Danielle Hunter's also a free agent defensive end. I don't see him going there either. So, yeah, I think Chase Young, somebody like that, someone that's a young player that really hasn't lived up to potential yet, I could see the Cards taking a chance on somebody like Chase Young. So I think that's a good call. All right, and my bold prediction for the Arizona Cardinals this offseason, I'm going to say that the team trades down from the number 4 pick in the draft, and they drop to, let's see, can you see them dropping from 4 to 13? No, that's too far. But, hey, that's not a bad call. So, I'm going to say the team trades down from 4 all the way to 13 to Vegas, because I think Vegas wants a quarterback. And Vegas might have their eyes on Jaden Daniels or Drake May, and maybe somebody in the top 3 takes Marvin Harrison, or a quarterback, or a quarterback we're not thinking of, or whatever. Or maybe Vegas trades up to the top 3, but I could see Zona and Vegas switching. And I'm going to say they trade back to 13. Vegas moves up. And I'm going to say Arizona takes Romeo Odunze from Washington, who may fall into the teams in the draft. And Odunze could be a WR1 on the right team. So that's my prediction for the Arizona Cardinals. Both call, but I could totally see that happening. So Arizona should be an interesting offseason there. I think that their coach did a really good job for a team that only won 5 games. Jonathan Gannon. His job status, I think he is safe for this year unless they go like 2-15 like they were supposed to this past year. And it's funny because in September when I did the NFL predictions, I thought Gannon was going to be the one and done coach, but that ended up being Frank Reich because he was 1 and half done. Not even even 1 and done. He was half done. I think that some of their coordinators could be in trouble, depending on how the season goes. Drew Petzing, if that offense isn't better, I could see him in trouble, and same with Nick Rallis, the DC. And then Monty Ossenfort, pressure's on to nail those 2 picks for sure in the first round. So there you have it for the 2024 Arizona Cardinals offseason preview and predictions. And next up will be the Atlanta Falcons.